Hello, I am Dr.DurgeshNandan and we are presented here the topic from Fundamentals of Agronomy, and we have a content. Today we will discuss about that content: crop nutrition, manure, fertilizer and nutrient use efficiency. What's the crop nutrient and what's the criteria of essentiality? Because how we get from that ki how many nutrients are very important for the crop development, and after that to the fulfill the requirement of the crop nutrients. So where we get to questions, we will discuss the whole topics, whole contents about the crop nutrient, manure, fertilizer and nutrient use efficiency. As per the criteria of essentiality, the first DI, RNM and PR Stott. These are the two persons which discovered that criteria of essentiality, and after the criteria of essentiality we have found that 17 essential nutrients to the development of the crop. At the earliest these are the only 16, and later on one more elements it's added like as nickel, and we got that total 17 nutrients as reflected criteria of essentiality. So in 1939, DIRNM and P.I. Stott discovered the criteria of essentiality and basically divided the nutrients into category macro and micro. So in macro, our the category of three categories: basic nutrients, primary or secondary nutrients. So basic as carbon, hydrogen or oxygen. These are the primary nutrients. Plants generally got it from the nature. We doesn't need to provide artificially. And then second one, primary nutrients. We have discussed about the basic nutrients: carbon, hydrogen or and oxygen. So these basic nutrients provided generally presented in nature, and plants take from the nature, it's naturally and very simply way. Then the primary nutrients has came here, and primary nutrients are three major: nitrogen, phosphorus and potash. So nitrogen also presented in nature and in our soil, and phosphorus too and potash too. But these are the three major nutrients which played the vital role in the development of the plant growth, and artificially we have provided too. Then secondary nutrients we have calcium, magnesium and sulfur. These are the secondary nutrients which played the vital role in the growth and development of the plant, and artificially we can provide and artificially we can create too. Then the second category is the major micronutrients. So our 9 elements are presented in macro, and remaining 8 is micronutrient. So here you can list it, which is required less than 1 part per million in plant, like a zinc, copper, manganese, ferrous and boron, molybdenum, chlorine and nickel. These are micronutrients which is essential for the plants. Later on, 17 discovered elements. In 1963, we have defined the term functional nutrients. Nicholas added 4 more beneficial nutrients here. So our already defined 17 elements, essential nutrients, and then 4 more beneficial nutrients have been come and introduced in 1963. These are the vanadium, silicon and cobalt and sodium. Because after that criteria of essentiality, the DJ Nicholas sir has checked that, and they are found that 17 are very important to the development and growth. But as per the requirements or as per the achievements in terms of economic yield of the plants, the 4 are more very important and played the vital role, because without these 4 elements, they are not achieving the economic yield as per the requirement. So they are very helpful elements which proved that very helpful. That's why the DJ Nicholas sir in 1963 they has given the new term and called it functional nutrient. So here functional nutrients, the 17 plus 4 beneficial nutrients, and the new term is introduced, functional nutrient in 1963 by the D.V. Nicholas, where the essential nutrients plus beneficial nutrients has been included. These are the classification of essential plant nutrients of 17 which we have already discussed. These are flow charts are made as per the for the learning purpose only. Now we come to that fulfillment of these are 17 elements. So here the fulfilling by the giving the manure and by the fertilizers. And the in that organic culture we have also introduced biofertilizers. So we have three category of the to fulfill the nutrients to the plants. One is manure, second the fertilizers, and third is biofertilizers. We have total three options to fulfill the requirement of the nutrients in the plant. The first is manure. So the word is manure is derived from the French word which is known as manure, means to manipulate, to work or to produce crop. So by the manipulating, because all the nutrients already presented in our soil, okay. So with the requirement to fulfill by the like is in different categories of soil, we have a less amount of the nitrogen, somewhere we have less availability of the phosphorus and potash, these kind of the micro elements. So additionally to fulfill the additional requirement of the plants, we have provided manually in soil. So by the manure we can provide, so that's why the manure word derived from the French manure, and which means to manipulate, to work or to produce. Manures are plant and animal wastes because these are the organic material which is already found in the nature, and after a degradation they produce the valuable nutrient to the crop. Like is that's why the define here manures are plant and animal wastes that are used as source of plant nutrient. Now the classification of manure. So in the classification of manure we have the broad two terms. The one is bulky manure and the second is concentrated manure. So these are the two major classification of the manure. So first we have started from the bulky organic manure. Bulky, which we require to provide in bulk nature, because in bulk quantity, but they produce very less or provide very less amount of nutrients. So the first is here listed farmyard manure. Farmyard manure, which is made from the basically farmyard produces like as animal wastes. There is the cattle manure, sheep manure, and poultry manure. So these are the wastes from the cattle, sheep, and poultry. And after the decomposition of this kind of wastes or shit of that cattle or sheep or poultry, so which is the waste material we have got from that cattle fields or sheep or poultry husbandry. So these are the after the decomposition we get that manure. So these are provide very less amount of nutrients in points. Same as a compost. Compost is that upgraded version of the manure, where the we have taken the organic material and waste from the cattle fields, waste from the plants fields, residues of the crops, and then get that degraded, and after degraded we got that compost. Then sewage and sludge. So sewage and sludge basically is a residual or semi-solid waste material that is produced by the product as sewage, because by the houses and by the slaughterhouses the lot of wastes are there. So that is called sewage sludge, which is a basically waste material of the human too. So after the treatment we can also apply it to the field for the produce of the crop. So these are the bulky manure. Then concentrated manure, which is the concentrated in nature, because in less amount the more number of the nutrients has been presented. So first is oil cakes, like as edible oil cakes and non-edible oil cakes. So after that mustard, after that mustard oil extraction, we have remaining the waste of the mustard, and that is known as cake. So mustard cake. Then same as a groundnut cake, sesame cake, or linseed cake. So these are the edible oil cakes because we can also eat too. And then non-edible oil cakes like is castor, which is got it from the castor, neem, and then mahua or karanj cake. So these are the some examples from the cake, oil cakes. Then slaughterhouse wastes. Slaughterhouse where the animals are slaughtered, and then we have got the as a waste, blood waste, bones are there, and fishes are there. So these kind of waste of blood, waste of bones, or fishes waste, these are the come from the slaughterhouse, and it's also uses to for the nutrient provided to the nutrient in the crop. Then guano. Guano is the basically a species which is guano is the basically excrete and dead bodies of the seabirds. So these are called guano category, and it's the example of concentrated organic manure. So these are basically organic manures, and in there the one more category is that vermicompost. That is a category of the compost, but it's organic in nature, and that is vermicompost. And that organic where the organic waste is we have taken and collected, and after that by the worms, it's the process of decomposition happen by the worms, by the earthworms. So where the earthworms variety is the more popular in manner Escherichia foetida. So these are very popular variety of the earthworms to make that vermicompost. And now let's move to the green manure. So green manure also organic in nature, and it's two category of the green manure. One is the in situ, and second is that green leaf manures. In situ, it's also word of Latin. So in means, in is the nature in English, like as inside, and situ, that is Latin word, where the meaning of that place or in place. So means inside of the field which it produces any crop on the same field, or by the any leaves on the same field. So that is called in situ manure. So after that growing of the crops, growing of the green manures or green manure crops, then we have plowed on the same field. So after that sometimes it will degrade by itself, and that calls provided the green manure to the crop. Then green leaf manures. So by the nearby of the fields we have collected some leaves or the green leaves, and then converted to the manure and provided to the crop. So provided to the soil to produce the good crops, the green leaf manure. So green manure has two categories. So basically come to that point, what is the basically difference between manure and fertilizers. So here the manure is that organic substances which is provided in nature, and by the degradable they produce some valuable content or valuable nutrient, and they are organic in nature, valuable content to the produce of the crop. And here fertilizer, that is the artificial content which is made by the chemicals, and especially synthesized by the chemicals to produce a main content to the crop, and generate particular in nutrient wise, like as for the nitrogen, for the phosphorus, for the potash, or for the mixture of fertilizers. So we have created essential elements by the synthesized by the chemicals as an artificially manner, that is the fertilizers. So here also written the definition, you can read, it is an artificial product containing the plant nutrients which when added to soil makes it productive and promotes plant growth. So these are the fertilizers. So now the classification of the fertilizers, how many kinds of it. So the first that is a basic classification because it's more in number. Another we will discuss. So the first is straight, complex and mixed fertilizer. That is the basic classification of the fertilizers. So first one is that straight fertilizer. Straight means where the one main nutrient has been found, and that is a single nutrient found in fertilizers. Like is urea. Urea has only nitrogen content has found in 100 kg of urea, only 46% or 46 kg of nitrogen has been found in urea. So that is state fertilizers, example of state fertilizers. Second is the complex fertilizers. Complex fertilizer, which fertilizers contains two or more than two nutrients, more than two major nutrients has been found. So these kind of fertilizers known as complex fertilizer. Example has been written DAP. So in DAP, the 18% nitrogen has been found, or 46% phosphorus has been found. So the major two elements are there, major two nutrients are there. That's why it's complex fertilizers. And the third one, the mixed fertilizers. So are any physical mixture of that nutrient content where the more than numbers of two or more than numbers of three primary plant nutrients with the micronutrients easily available. So that is called mixed fertilizer. Like as you have seen in markets, NPK has been come. There is ratio also has been given 10 is to 26 is to 26. Okay, so nitrogen has been 10%, 26% phosphorus, 26% potash. So NPK is the basic example of the mixed fertilizer. So these are basic classification of fertilizers. Then also here two broad terms. One is the solid fertilizer and second one is liquid fertilizers. So as we seen in markets, because the in powder form, in granules form, in petal forms, the solid fertilizers has been come, and in bottles also, like as liquid nitrogen has been come. So in liquid fertilizers has also come. So there is two category. For the broad classification, we have of fertilizers. It's also given by the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. So is fertilizers, state fertilizer complex and mixed, we have already discussed. Then fertilizer in form of the solid and liquid fertilizer. So in solid you can see that urea pills, like a very smallest granules, and then granulated urea, that is few big but smallest units and rounded shape in that pills is there, and ammonium sulfate that are crystal clear like a sugar. So these are the solid forms. And in liquid fertilizers, so in liquid fertilizer the broad classification is there, like as nitrogenous, phosphatic, potassic fertilizers and complex fertilizers we have. In nitrogenous, the four categories here, like as ammonical category, nitrate category, and ammonical and nitrate both, and amide fertilizers. So the in ammonical category, ammonium sulfate, ammonium chloride, anhydrous ammonia. Anhydrous ammonia has that the very highest percentage of the nitrogen content has been found. So these are ammonical form. In nitrate, we have the option in fertilizer: sodium nitrate, calcium nitrate, potassium nitrate, and the third one, ammonical and nitrate. So ammonium nitrate and calcium ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate nitrate, and in amide fertilizer, urea and calcium cyanamide. So these are the nitrogenous fertilizers has been found, and these are the broad classification are there, you can read. So by the follow of this link, you can also get that broad classification of urea, because whatever we have told, that is the overall whole completed classification of the fertilizers. So that is the total whole classification of the fertilizers, whereas we have learned about that state fertilizer, complex fertilizer, mixed fertilizer, and then solid and liquid fertilizers. So these are the basic classification of the fertilizers. Then we will move towards biofertilizer. That is also a good option, and nowadays very helpful option for the farmers, because by the applied chemical fertilizers we have deteriorated our soils too. So that's why, to build up the soil texture and good organic content into the soil, good carbon content to the soil. So the biofertilizers, very helpful option we have. What is the biofertilizer? A biofertilizer is a substance which contains living microorganisms in which, when applied to seeds, plant surface, plant's roots, or in the soil interior of the plants, as it promotes growth by increasing the supply of availability of prime nutrients to the plant or to the host plant. So there's a so much beneficial. They enhance that crop plant growth, and they enhance that carbonic added to the carbonic matter into the soil, and they provide the nutrient added to the soils, and more than 20 to 25% nitrogen into the soil, and they are mobilizing to that potassium content into the soil, which is easily or rapidly available to the plants. And so these kind of benefits by the biofertilizers we can get. Here's the types of biofertilizers. So they are symbiotic N fixation and asymbiotic N fixation. So based of that symbiotic in nature, like is rhizobium, which is already associated with the roots of the legumes crops, and they do that nitrogen fixations with the plant's roots, and provide to that plants nitrogen to the plants, and after that plant end up or maturity of the plants, the roots provided or added nitrogen to the into the soil. Then asymbiotic N fixation, which is not associated with that plant roots, but we can provide additionally into the soil, like as azotobacter, which is root associated, azospilium, blue-green algae, or azula, that is asymbiotic nitrogen fixation biofertilizers we have found in nature. So these kinds of biofertilizers we have. So after that, we got the knowledge about that manures, fertilizers, and biofertilizers. So on the basis of three major factors, on the basis of the different factors, there is broad classification based on the characteristics like manures and fertilizers. What is the basic difference? As by the origin, the manures are origin by the plant material, by the waste material of the animals, and the fertilizer are chemical synthesized minerals or manufacturers. Then in nature, so organic in nature, and they are also inorganic in nature. If we can talk about the type, so that is a natural product, that is a synthesized artificial product. In concentration of nutrients, so in manures, the less concentration of nutrients by the provide the in tons, we have got that just 1%, 2% of the nutrient content, and in fertilizers they are artificially synthesized, where in we got that 46%, 68%, these kind of percentage of nutrients we have found. In material, so supply organic matter, they are supply inorganic matter. By the nutrient availability is slowly available from that manures, because they are after the degradation, and by the degrading values they are added nutrient into the soil, but they are rapidly provided because it's made by the neem to it. In kind of nutrients, so supply all the primary nutrients by the organic manner and micronutrient too, and what supply specified nutrient which is made for it, like as with the primary fertilizers, so added only the primary nutrients, where the secondary fertilizers added some secondary nutrients, and when the mixed fertilizers have the primary and secondary and maybe any micronutrients, so that's the specific in nature. And effect on soil health, so improves physical conditions of the soil, and then in the second place of the fertilizer do not improve any physical condition but deteriorate it, or by the residual effects of the chemical fertilizers, they are also deteriorated our soil and converted the soil nature, and effect to the pH also. Effect on plant growth, no bad effect when applied in the quantities, in the large quantities too, and adverse effect on plant whenever excessive application of the fertilizers. So these are the basic major difference of the manure and fertilizers, between manure and fertilizers. And now the second things, why the utilization of or absorption of the plants. So how can we get it know how many quantity of the fertilizers are required to the plants, and how much quantity we have to supply to the plants or into the soil. So these are one broad term is nutrient use efficiency. So by the nutrient use efficiency, we can get the amount of how much quantity we have to apply to the soil. So the nutrient use efficiency is defined as the amount of dry matter produced per unit nutrient applied in a soil. So the classification of nutrient use efficiency in three categories. The first is agronomic efficiency. The first category is agronomic efficiency. So how can we get the agronomic efficiency? So first, the grain yield of fertilized crop minus grain yield of unfertilized crop in kilogram upon quantity of fertilizer applied in kilogram. So if that is grain yield, means total economic yield you have to take, because in agronomy we have just talked about that economic yield of the crop, not the total plant material. So economic yield is that only grain yield. So how much grain yield produces by the which field where we have applied the fertilizers, and we have taken another fields where we have not utilized any kind of fertilizers. So by the fertilized crop, whatever the grain production minus whatever the grain production from the unfertilized crop and divide by the how much fertilizer applied in kilogram. So we will divide and we got that agronomic efficiency, and also we can get that how much quantity we required for that agronomic produce. And the next one, physiological efficiency. So in physiological efficiency, here we got the total dry matter of the fertilized crop in kilogram, not a economic yield only. In agronomic we have taken only economic yield. Here we can take the whole plant material from the top to root. So total dry matter yield of fertilized crop in kilogram, then total dry matter yield of unfertilized crop in kilogram, and applied by the nutrient uptake by fertilizer crop in kilogram minus nutrient uptake by unfertilized crop in kilogram. And the third one, apparent recovery of efficiency. Apparent recovery efficiency. So in apparent recovery of efficiency, just was the nutrient uptake by the fertilized crop minus nutrient uptake by unfertilized crop divided by quantity of fertilizer applied in kilogram. So by these all three methods we can get the nutrient use efficiency, because by the how much fertilizer applied, how much quantity is plant produced by the economic, by the overall plant. So we can easily get that value of fertilizer use, how much quantity we have to apply. So by these are the three methods, the nutrient use efficiency also we can get. Thank you so much.